Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're talking about college and asking the question, was college worth it? Now, don't freak out, calm your horses. The short answer is yes, college was worth it, but not for the reasons that I thought it would have been. Not for all of the reasons that I was sold when I was applying to college. 2 years after graduation, I can look back and really analyze what college helped me in doing and what it sure as hell didn't help me in doing. So college was worth it for the fact that at college I made amazing connections. I have lots of times gone to job interviews or networking events where the person will be like, oh my gosh, I went to Bocconi too. And then I'm like, oh my God, me too. And then there's a little Bocconiani thing. I think that going to a school like Bocconi was very worth it in terms of the people that I would know who would then some way or another become useful. I mean, I wouldn't look at people so transactionally, but I mean, if we're talking about whether college was worth it or not and what the money ended up really getting me or what the school ended up actually helping me with, it was putting me in contact with people that would be helpful throughout my career and in my life. That was what school got me. Another reason why college was pretty helpful is that it changes the way that you think, I believe. There's just something about being in a really focused course surrounded by really focused people and you're all like kind of on the same track talking about something very deeply that changes the way you analyze things. I don't know. Also, in the fact that usually when you go to college, you're with people from a lot of different places. Like, okay, say you live in a small town your whole life and then you go even to a small university. Within that small university, there are going to be people from all these other small towns that you had no contact with. So even if it's on a minimal scale, you're still getting exposed to different people and different ways of thinking. Now, if you're lucky enough to go to a bigger global school, this impact is like times 100. So I was coming into contact with people from countries that I did not even know existed. Suddenly, concepts that I grew up with, I realized that those weren't the only concepts around. Like, things literally weren't just black and white like they are in America. Like, there were so many different ways to see diversity. Diversity could be about countries, it could be about gender, diversity could be talking about whether you're able-bodied or not. Like, it changes your perspective by putting you in contact with different people. So first it puts you in contact with useful people, and then it puts you in contact with different people. And through this, it changes your way of thinking that I think will come to be very useful later on in life. Now, this is not to say that people that didn't go to college don't know how to think, because actually there's something about working earlier or getting into the real world earlier. I'm talking having to deal with real world issues that will make you be able to rationalize in a way that somebody that spent most of their time in the school system and no time in the real world would be able to think. But it's a different way of thinking. College teaches you how to think in a way that works in college that does end up being useful eventually. I don't even know if I explained that right. Another thing college was worth it for was because I do think it is a nice buffer between childhood/adolescence and the real world. You'd never notice it while you're actually in college, but even though it feels like you are, even though it felt like it was for me, because I even went to a whole nother country, I was literally alone in this place, I still wasn't an adult. I wasn't an adult. You know why? Because technically speaking, I wasn't paying taxes, or not significant taxes, because I wasn't making significantly enough amount of money. I didn't have to deal with certain expectations. The only expectations of me were to finish my exams. Take your exams, finish them, get decent grades. The only thing that was expected of me was to study. I didn't have to think about taxes. I didn't have to think about work. I didn't have to think about huge clients or projects. I didn't have to think about maintaining relationships, because once you work, especially in business, you'll find that relationships are a commodity. I didn't have to think about a lot of real world things, you know? Most notably taxes. Taxes and maintaining adult relationships, and also maintaining your career, which seems like it could fizzle out at any second. When you're in school, the only thing that's really expected of you is to pass your exams and to, you know, still be a student, really. So I think that college was useful in the fact that you're a little bit less of a kid and you start seeing the real world without having to like just get thrown into the deep end of being an actual real adult as you would if you finished high school and just went straight into the workforce and didn't go to college. In Italy, we don't really have the universities the way that you have them in America, where just about every university offers everything. There are some universities like that, like University of Bologna has medicine and law and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the schools in Italy are pretty focused and are known for something. So say you're going to Bocconi, you're surrounded by other kids that are all into finance, economics, business, and some people in government. If you go to Politecnico, you'll find that it is very engineering. Everybody there just about is an engineer. And there's something about being in that little bubble of similarity. You find that you make friends that you wouldn't have made in high school. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, my friends that I made in university, they're able to speak to me in ways that my friends that I went to in high school aren't, just for the sole reason that we didn't have this deep shared experience on a deep material. Me and my friends from university will talk about stock options, we'll talk about investment, we'll talk about politics, we'll talk about stuff that we studied, you know? Whereas me and my friends from high school, sometimes we talk about business, sometimes we talk about politics, but we mostly talk about like just general life and nothing really that specific. So, I mean, maybe this one was rambling, but I found that I made an interesting selection of friends from university that I wouldn't have made otherwise. And also just that shared experience of suffering together. I mean, we all knew what it was like to pull an all-nighter to study, or we all knew what it was like to suffer at the hands of this specific math instructor that was giving the oral exam. We all had this like shared experience, and I think that's really important in, you know, you as a person. These were the main, not very linear reasons as to why I think that college was useful, and let me tell you what it was not useful for. For me, it was not useful for really finding a job. Everybody sells it to you that you are gonna go to college to find a job later, and if that is what's gonna make you spend, if you're in America, $60,000 a year on tuition, you guys, I'm telling you from the other side of the tunnel, don't do it. Don't do it. Certainly, there are some professions which, rightfully so, you do need a degree, no questions about it, and sometimes you even need a degree and a master's. If we're talking about medicine, I'm gonna need my doctor to have gone through all of the necessary schooling, and I don't want him to be a doctor if he's not through it all. But if we're talking about other things, like I'm talking business, marketing, accounting, finance, these kinds of things right here, especially in business, you only really see it when you start working, but most of these people, the real successful people, don't have degrees. And I'm not talking about the Zuckerbergs and Steve Jobs who went to Harvard and dropped out because they started a huge company. Nah, guys, I can't tell you how many heads of departments, heads of global marketing. I saw a head of global marketing that had a degree in geography. And I mean, no offense to anybody that studies geography, but I did not suffer through differential calculus to be superseded by somebody. Like, I'm just kidding. But some of the people that I have worked with, like directly in my career, some of the most talented, competent people were people who didn't go to college or got their degrees in, I don't know, something random, like, I don't know, drama. Maybe they got their degree in drama. Society will tell you that a degree like that is supposed to be useless. A degree like that won't help you, and so you better go study business, you better go study marketing, when actually it's not necessary. It's really not. A lot of the skills that you need to be a good business person, to be a good marketer, you're not gonna read them in a book. You're gonna learn them from doing, from interacting, you know? Like I said, a degree is worth it, and a degree is useful for those things that I said before. If you need to make connections, if you need a little bit more time before being thrown into adulthood, if you need to learn how to, you know, rationalize and think in a more mature way, think in a more studied academic way, then college is useful. But if you think that college is going to give you all the skills that you need for a job, heck, even if you're a doctor, College will give you the theory that you need, but are you gonna learn how to do open heart surgery from a book? I think not. I think you're gonna get better and better at doing open heart surgery from actually doing open heart surgery. So the theory of marketing and business and all of these kinds of studies, it will only take you so far, but to get you to the next level, you have to actually do it. And a lot of the times, colleges will get in your way of actually being able to do something and give it your all. That time that you're spending in a classroom could be on the field doing what you want to do someday. So I think that it's so important to really understand why a degree is useful and why it is not. That's all I'm trying to get at here. I'm not saying a degree is useful or isn't useful. I'm just trying to get us to really question and think about why we think it's useful and why we don't think it's useful. The thing that got me where I am today in terms of working was the fact that I had started this YouTube entrepreneurial thing. The fact that I knew how to manage money, I knew how to make an invoice, I knew how to do this, and that practical thing that was useful for the job. Rarely do I have anything that I studied come up again in my professional life, and rarely did my school end up being a direct link for me finding a job. All of the jobs I found them on my own. I tried finding jobs through my school's platform and it didn't pan out for anything. I found that what school did not help me do was find a job. And so since there are so many people that go to school and decide their school strictly based on the idea that that school is gonna help them find a job, I'm gonna be the one to tell you, I went to a world-renowned, prestigious business school, and that's not what got me a job. Sure, maybe it made somebody look twice on my CV. Perhaps if that person had their own stereotype of what Bocconi meant, maybe it would have given them a good impression of me before actually knowing what I did. But the thing that always sold people, the thing that always made people raise their eyebrows and say, the skills that came in handy were the skills that I gained through this YouTube channel and running my own commercial activity. College did not help me become a businesswoman. College did not help me find a private sector job. And so, was college worth it in that sense? No. This video was a bit off of the books, and I hope that you guys found it entertaining and helpful. I didn't want to crush anybody's dreams. If you're already in college, poco da fare, might as well finish. But if you're not in college yet, or you're thinking about college, these are some things to think about. I'm not saying don't go to college. College was a great experience for many, many reasons, but I just feel like so many people only go to college because they think that college is gonna help them find a job, when not necessarily. Barely it will. At most, college will get you to the door, but it's not gonna get you through the door of employment. And that is coming from me, your near dear friend that graduated just 2 years ago and is working. No thanks to college. But I do thank college for other things. As always, you guys, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, hit the notification bell to, get notified every time I upload a video. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Mwah.